So I was talking to this boy. We was talking for like a couple months or whatever. So this day, he told me to follow this dude. So soon as we like get to the red light, we was at the red light. Like all we had to do was just turn around and boom, you at the red light from where we was. So we get to the red light. He trying to put the location in my phone so we can go to where we was finna go. So it was shooting, but I didn't think that they was like shooting like at us, because while they were shooting, they were driving.
1:15 a.m., Birmingham, Alabama, January 10th, 2024. A 21-year-old woman named Mia Nixon is on Facebook Live. She's sitting in her car outside her house, just talking to her followers like she always does. Story time, tea time, normal stuff. But tonight's different. A man's voice cuts through the audio. "Yo, you set up my boy. Everyone knows what you did." Mia's not backing down. She's fighting back, defending herself. The argument gets heated. 1:35 a.m. The live ends. 1:45 a.m. Gunshots shatter the silence. When police arrive, Mia Nixon is lying dead in her driveway. 30 minutes. That's how long she had between being called a setup queen on live and taking her last breath. This isn't just another murder case. This is about how social media became a murder weapon, how accusations turned into executions, how someone used Facebook Live to basically put a hit on a young woman. And wait until you hear who they arrested for this, because this dude might be connected to 18 other murders. Welcome to True Crime Tales HQ. Before we get into the full story, hit the like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications to keep update on our latest stories. Let me tell you about Mia Nixon, because the internet has been wild with theories about who she really was. On the surface, perfect girl, 21 years old, talented nail tech, dreams of opening her own salon, beautiful, ambitious, the kind of girl who could do your nails and your hair and have you looking like a whole snack. Her Instagram was fire. Nail art that would make you spend your rent money. Hair transformations that had people sliding in her DMs begging for appointments. She was that girl. But here's where it gets messy. December 2022, just over a year before she died. Mia's driving through Birmingham when boom, bullets start flying through her car. Multiple shots. One hits her right ear, exits near her eye. She loses hearing in that ear, sight in that eye. She posted about it on Facebook, and I'm going to read you her exact words because this is important. "I heard bullets flying through my car. Next thing I know, I woke up with my car wrapped around a tree. Doctor said if it had been an inch over, I'd be gone. God kept waking me up. It wasn't my time yet." Now listen, most people get shot at once. They move different. They stay low-key. They don't put themselves in situations where it could happen again. But Mia? 3 months before she died, she got arrested for drug trafficking, posted a $40,000 bond like it was nothing. Y'all, where does a 21-year-old nail tech get $40,000 cash? The streets started talking, and when the streets talk about a young, pretty girl with too much money and the wrong connections, they use a specific term: setup queen. Now, for those who don't know, a setup queen is a woman who uses her looks to lure dudes into situations where they get robbed or worse. She'll meet you at the club, act interested, get you to drive her somewhere private, and then her crew runs your pockets. Sometimes they take everything. Sometimes they take your life. The rumors about Mia being a setup queen were everywhere after she died. Social media was going crazy with people saying she got what came to her, that karma caught up to her, that she finally set up the wrong person. But here's the thing, and this is why this case is so messed up. Nobody ever proved she was actually doing this stuff. No victims came forward, no crew members got arrested who named her, no evidence she was actually setting people up. But in the streets, rumors become facts, and facts become death sentences. So when Mia went live that night, she wasn't just a nail tech defending herself. She was a woman who'd survived bullets before, who was fighting drug charges, who was dealing with rumors that could get her killed. And somebody was watching. Somebody was waiting. But here's the crucial part. The person who would eventually kill her wasn't the same person arguing with her on that Facebook Live. The man making the accusations that night might have nothing to do with her murder. The real killer was someone else entirely. Someone who saw an opportunity in the chaos or was hired. January 9th, 2024. Tuesday night, transitioning to Wednesday morning. Most people are asleep, getting ready for work the next day. But not Mia Nixon. She's outside her house on Greencrest Turn, sitting in her car, phone in hand, going live on Facebook. This is normal for her. She does these late-night story times, just talking to her followers, sharing what's on her mind. 1:15 a.m. The live starts. At first, it seems normal. Mia's just talking, probably venting about her day or whatever's bothering her. But then he shows up. A male voice cuts through the audio. "Yo, you set up my boy. Everyone knows what you did.
Stop playing games." Now, Mia could have ended the live right there. Could have ignored him. Could have blocked him and gone inside her house. But that's not who Mia was. She wasn't the type to back down from a fight, especially not in front of hundreds of people watching live. She fires back. She's defending herself, denying the accusations, telling this dude he's lying. The argument escalates fast. Viewers are watching this play out in real time, commenting, picking sides, recording the drama on their phones. This isn't just a private dispute anymore. This is public entertainment. But what the viewers don't realize is they're watching a death sentence being handed down live on Facebook. The man making the accusations never gives specifics. He doesn't say when this alleged setup happened, or where, or who exactly got set up. He's just throwing out general accusations. "You know what you did. Your time is up. We coming for you." And Mia's responding like someone who genuinely doesn't know what he's talking about. She seems surprised by the accusations, confused, asking him to explain what he means. Here's what's crazy. Investigators later said her responses seemed authentic, like she was hearing these set-up queen allegations for the first time. Either she was the world's best actress, or she really had no idea what this dude was talking about. 1:35 a.m. The live ends. But here's what we know next. Someone contacted her after that live ended. We don't know if it was a phone call, text message, or DM. But somebody convinced Mia Nixon to step outside her house at almost 2 a.m. Think about that. After being publicly threatened on Facebook Live, after some random dude basically put a target on her back in front of hundreds of people, Mia still felt safe enough, or was convinced, to leave her house. Did they tell her they just wanted to talk? Did they say they could clear up the misunderstanding? Did they pretend to be someone entirely different? 1:43 a.m. Neighbors hear what one later described as muffled conversation coming from Mia's driveway. Two voices, one female, one they couldn't identify. The conversation lasts less than 2 minutes. Then, gunshots. Multiple neighbors report hearing between 2 and 4 shots fired quickly. Mrs. Patterson, 3 houses down, looks out her window and sees a figure running from the Nixon home toward a car parked on the street. By the time she thinks to call 911, the car is gone. 1:45 a.m. First 911 call comes in. 1:47 a.m. Police arrive to find Mia Nixon dead in her driveway, 15 feet from her front door. From Facebook Live argument to murder, 28 minutes. From the end of her final broadcast to her final breath, 8 minutes. But the craziest part? This whole thing was planned. The Facebook Live wasn't just random drama. It was part of the murder plot. For over a year, Mia Nixon's murder was a cold case. No arrests, no suspects, just a young woman dead in her driveway and a family begging for answers. Then 2025 happened. Birmingham police arrested 22-year-old Damian McDaniel and charged him with Mia's murder. But y'all, when I tell you this dude's story is insane, Damian McDaniel wasn't just suspected in Mia's death. Police think he might be connected to 18 other murders across Birmingham. 18. This wasn't some dude who snapped one night. This was allegedly a serial killer who had been moving through Birmingham like death on wheels. Here's how investigators think McDaniel operated, and this is where it gets really disturbing. He would identify targets, often through connections or surveillance, and wait for the perfect opportunity to strike. Unlike what many people assumed, McDaniel wasn't the person arguing with Mia on that Facebook Live. That was someone else entirely. Someone who had their own beef with her but wasn't involved in her murder. But McDaniel may have been watching that drama unfold. And he realized something. All that public chaos provided perfect cover for what he was planning to do anyway. The Facebook Live where Mia was called a setup queen, that wasn't McDaniel creating drama. That was organic beef between Mia and someone else. But investigators think McDaniel saw an opportunity. With all that public accusations and drama, her murder would look like street retaliation instead of what it really was, a calculated hit by a serial killer. The timing wasn't coincidence. McDaniel struck while everyone's attention was focused on the Facebook drama, using it as cover for his real motive. But here's the part that'll blow your mind. McDaniel's bank records showed deposits of several $1,000s in the weeks around Mia's murder. Similar deposits appeared before other homicides he suspected of. Y'all, this dude was allegedly a contract killer. Someone was paying him to murder specific people. Mia Nixon was just a name on a hit list. Now the question becomes, who wanted Mia Nixon dead badly enough to hire a killer? Remember those drug trafficking charges she was facing? Her connections to certain social circles? Had she become a liability to someone? The Facebook Live drama was just convenient timing. It gave McDaniel the perfect cover to carry out a hit that was probably already planned. But here's the part that makes McDaniel so scary. Dude was allegedly efficient as hell. After shootings, he'd disappear like smoke. Minimal evidence, no witnesses, clean getaways. If it wasn't for ballistic evidence connecting multiple crime scenes, he might never have been caught. The shell casings from Mia's murder matched multiple other homicides. Same gun, same killer, same MO. When they arrested McDaniel, he showed no emotion, no remorse, no anger, no fear. Court observers said it was like watching someone go through a grocery checkout. That kind of detachment, that's serial killer behavior. The ability to turn violence on and off like a light switch. As of right now, McDaniel is facing charges in connection with up to 18 deaths. His case is working its way through the courts. But even with him locked up, the biggest questions remain unanswered. If he was a contract killer, who were his clients? Who specifically wanted Mia Nixon dead? And why did her murder happen to coincide with that Facebook Live drama? Because here's the thing. McDaniel might be the trigger man, but he's not the mastermind. Somewhere out there is the person who decided Mia Nixon needed to die and had the money to make it happen. The man who argued with her on Facebook Live, he's not the killer. He's probably not even connected to the murder, but the person who hired McDaniel, that person is still walking free. Let's talk about the elephant in the room, these setup queen allegations that got Mia killed. Because understanding what this means is crucial to understanding why she became a target. In street terminology, a setup queen is a woman who works with a crew to rob people. Here's typically how it works. She meets a target at a club or party, usually a dude flashing money, wearing expensive jewelry, driving a nice car. She flirts with him, acts interested, makes him think he's about to get lucky. While she's playing her role, she's texting her crew everything, where they're going, what the target's carrying, when to make their move. She convinces the target to leave with her, usually to somewhere private, his place, her place, a hotel, wherever she can get him isolated. Then her crew shows up. They rob him, sometimes beat him up, sometimes worse. The setup queen acts like she's a victim too, crying, screaming, acting shocked, so if anyone survives, she doesn't get blamed. It's a lucrative hustle if you can pull it off. One good setup can net thousands of dollars, especially if you target the right people. But it's also extremely dangerous, because eventually you're going to set up the wrong person. Someone who survives, someone who has connections, someone who decides to hunt you down. Now here's what's messed up about Mia's case. All these allegations about her being a setup queen, never proven. Not one victim came forward saying Mia set them up. Not one crew member got arrested who named her. No evidence she was actually doing this. But in the streets, rumors spread faster than facts. And once you get labeled a setup queen, that reputation follows you everywhere. The rumors about Mia seem to come from two main things. One, her ability to post that $40,000 bond when she got arrested. And two, her presence in certain social circles where this kind of activity was known to happen. But let's be real, there are legit explanations for both of these. The bond money could have come from family, savings from her beauty business, or loans from friends. $40,000 sounds like a lot, but if you got family willing to put up their house or car as collateral, it's doable. And being in certain social circles doesn't make you a criminal. Maybe she just knew these people socially. Maybe she dated someone who was involved in that life. Maybe she was just in the wrong place at the wrong time. But here's what's really telling. When you listen to that Facebook Live argument, Mia's responses don't sound like someone who got caught. She seems genuinely confused by the accusations. She's asking the dude to explain what he means, when this allegedly happened, who supposedly got set up. That's not how guilty people respond when they get called out. Guilty people deflect, change the subject, get defensive in specific ways. Mia sounded like someone hearing these accusations for the first time. But here's the tragic reality. In street justice, it doesn't matter if you're actually guilty. If enough people believe you're guilty, that belief becomes your death sentence. And social media makes it worse. One person makes an accusation online, and suddenly hundreds of people are sharing it, commenting on it, adding their own theories and evidence. Before you know it, a rumor becomes accepted fact, and accepted facts in the streets can get you killed. Mia Nixon might have died for crimes she never committed, killed by people who believe social media rumors over actual evidence. Think about that. A young woman with dreams and aspirations gunned down in her driveway because someone decided she was guilty without a trial, without proof, without even giving her a chance to defend herself properly. But here's the really twisted part. Her killer probably didn't even care if the rumors were true. McDaniel was allegedly a contract killer. He killed for money, not for justice. The setup queen allegations might have been just convenient cover for a hit that was already planned. And the saddest part, even if Mia had been involved in setup schemes, she didn't deserve to die for it. She deserved to face the legal system, to have her day in court, to have the chance to make things right. Nobody deserves to be executed in their driveway at 21 years old, no matter what they might have done. What happened to Mia Nixon represents something new and terrifying. How social media drama can provide perfect cover for premeditated murder. That Facebook Live wasn't the cause of her death, but it became the perfect camouflage for it. Think about how this played out. The man arguing with Mia on Facebook Live created public drama and accusations. Hundreds of people witnessed the conflict in real time. Everyone assumed her murder was connected to that argument. Meanwhile, the real killer, a suspected serial killer, used all that chaos as cover for what was likely a planned hit. This is a new kind of murder strategy. Let someone else create the public conflict, then strike while everyone's looking in the wrong direction. Here's what makes social media so dangerous in situations like this. Speed. A dispute can go from zero to deadly in minutes. No cooling off period, no time for intervention. Audience. Public accusations create peer pressure to respond and escalate instead of walking away. Permanence. Everything is recorded, screenshot, shared. Disputes don't fade, they get preserved and revisited. Coordination. Live platforms allow real-time planning of attacks while they're happening.
In Mia's case, that Facebook Live served multiple purposes, but not the way most people think. It provided misdirection. Everyone assumed the killer was connected to the argument. It created chaos, perfect cover for a professional hit. It established timeline. The killer knew exactly when and where to find her. And it gave false motive, making the murder look like street justice instead of a contract killing. The scariest part is this strategy worked perfectly. For over a year, everyone focused on the Facebook Live drama and the setup queen allegations. Meanwhile, the real killer, a suspected serial killer, flew completely under the radar. This strategy worked.
Investigators had no solid leads. The public nature of the accusations actually made it harder to identify the real killer because there were so many potential suspects who had heard the allegations. McDaniel was able to hide in plain sight while everyone focused on the wrong suspect, the man from the Facebook Live, who had nothing to do with the actual murder. The precision of this attack is what finally gave him away. The ballistic evidence connecting multiple murders, the similar patterns across cases, the surgical efficiency of each killing. This wasn't passion or rage. This was business. Professional violence carried out by someone who had done it before and expected to do it again. Now think about how many disputes you see playing out on social media every day. Twitter beef, Instagram call-outs, Facebook drama, TikTok exposés. Most of the time it stays digital. People argue, block each other, move on with their lives. But sometimes, like with Mia, someone decides to bring that digital conflict into the physical world. And when that happens, people die. The line between online and offline has completely disappeared. Your digital life is your real life. The enemies you make on social media are real enemies. The threats you receive in DMs are real threats. Mia Nixon learned this the hardest way possible. She thought she was just defending herself in an online argument with someone who had beef with her. She had no idea that a completely different person, a suspected serial killer, was planning her murder and using that drama as cover. Here's what every young person needs to understand. When you have public conflicts online, you're not just dealing with the person you're arguing with. You're potentially attracting attention from predators who see opportunity in chaos. People who will use your drama as cover for their own violent plans. Social media has made us all potential targets. Every post is public. Every argument has an audience. Every conflict can escalate to violence with no warning. Mia Nixon's murder should be a wake-up call for everyone who thinks online drama stays online. It doesn't. And sometimes the real danger isn't even coming from the person you're arguing with.
2025, more than a year after Mia Nixon's murder, Birmingham police finally made an arrest. Damian McDaniel, 22, charged with murder, potentially connected to 18 other homicides. But even with a suspect in custody, this case raises more questions than it answers. At McDaniel's court appearances, Mia's family got their first look at the man accused of killing her daughter. Court observers described him as eerily calm, showing no emotion as the charges were read. For Mia's mother, it was a moment she'd been waiting for over a year, but seeing her daughter's alleged killer didn't bring the closure she'd hoped for. She just wants to know why. Why her baby? What'd she do to deserve this? Those are the questions that still haunt this case. Who hired McDaniel to kill Mia? Why was she specifically targeted? Was her murder even connected to the Facebook Live drama, or was that just convenient timing? The financial evidence suggests McDaniel was indeed a contract killer. Deposits in his accounts before multiple murders, including Mia's. Someone was paying him to kill specific people. But the identity of his client or clients remains unknown. Was it someone involved in Birmingham's drug trade who saw Mia as a liability? Was it connected to her pending charges and fears about what she might reveal? Was it completely unrelated to the setup queen allegations? The FBI has joined the investigation, recognizing that a potential serial killer operating across multiple jurisdictions requires federal resources. They're reviewing every case McDaniel might be connected to, looking for patterns, trying to identify other potential victims and clients. What's becoming clear is that McDaniel allegedly operated as a professional killer, efficient, emotionless, and very good at using chaos and misdirection to cover his tracks. The revelation that the man arguing with Mia on Facebook Live had nothing to do with her murder has forced investigators to completely rethink the case. For over a year, they focused on the social media drama. Meanwhile, the real killer was hiding in plain sight, part of a much larger pattern of violence across Birmingham. Birmingham's community response has been complex. Some residents express relief that a suspected serial killer is off the streets. Others are disturbed by how long he allegedly operated undetected. The revelation that social media drama can be used as cover for professional hits has shaken many people's sense of security. Local leaders have organized community safety meetings, but the message has evolved. It's not just about avoiding online conflicts. It's about understanding that predators can use any chaos as cover for violence. Pastor Johnson, who spoke at Mia's memorial service, put it this way: "Evil doesn't always announce itself. Sometimes it hides behind the drama we create ourselves." As McDaniel's case moves through the courts, prosecutors are building cases on multiple fronts. Ballistic evidence connecting multiple crime scenes, financial records showing suspicious payments, digital forensics tracking his movements and communications, witness testimony placing him near various crime scenes. But the biggest challenge remains identifying who was paying him to kill. If you have any information about this case, Birmingham police and Crime Stoppers are still accepting tips. The reward has been increased to $10,000 for information leading to additional arrests. Because this isn't over. McDaniel might be locked up, but the person or people who ordered these hits are still out there. Still planning, still paying, still killing. Mia Nixon's murder was just one name on what might be a very long list.
Mia Nixon's murder should terrify every young person who thinks social media drama can't touch them in real life. Because what happened to her is happening more and more often. Digital conflicts becoming physical violence. Online accusations becoming death sentences. Let's break down the warning signs that everyone needs to recognize. Public accusations. When someone starts making serious allegations against you on public platforms, that's not just drama, that's potentially life-threatening. Public accusations create justification for violence and make you a target for anyone who believes them. Escalating conflicts. If an online argument is getting more intense instead of cooling down, step away. Block the person, delete the post, get offline. Your pride is not worth your life. Meeting strangers. If someone you've been arguing with online suddenly wants to meet in person to talk it out, that's a massive red flag. Real mediation happens through neutral parties, not private meetings with people who've been threatening you. Late night contact. If someone reaches out to you after midnight, especially after a public confrontation, be extremely suspicious. Legitimate conversations can wait until morning. Killers prefer to work in darkness. But here's what's really scary. Mia did things that seemed reasonable in the moment. She defended herself when accused publicly. She engaged with someone who claimed to have information. She agreed to step outside to have a conversation. Any of us might have made the same choices. That's what makes this case so chilling. The setup queen allegations that got Mia killed highlight another dangerous trend, using unproven accusations to justify violence. How many people in your city have reputations for things they might never have actually done? How many rumors get repeated until they become accepted facts? How many young people are walking around with targets on their backs because of stories that might not even be true? Social media has created a world where anyone can accuse anyone of anything, and those accusations can spread to thousands of people instantly. No evidence required, no investigation needed. Just type it and post it, and suddenly someone's reputation is destroyed. And in some communities, destroyed reputations lead to violence. Here's what you need to do to protect yourself. 1. Document everything. Screenshot threats, save messages, record interactions. If something happens to you, investigators need evidence. 2. Limit public arguments. Don't air serious disputes on public platforms. Handle conflicts privately or through proper channels. 3. Trust your instincts. If something feels wrong about a situation, it probably is, even if it seems unrelated to your immediate problems. 4. Tell someone. If you're having online conflicts with people, tell family or friends what's happening. Don't handle it alone. 5. Know when to walk away. Sometimes the best response to online drama is no response. Block, delete, move on. If you're currently dealing with online threats or conflicts that are escalating, here's what to do right now. Contact local police and file a report. Even if they can't arrest anyone immediately, you're creating a paper trail. If you have any information about this case, Birmingham police and Crime Stoppers are still accepting tips. The reward has been increased for information leading to additional arrests. Because this isn't over. McDaniel might be locked up, but the person or people who ordered these hits are still out there. Still planning, still paying, still killing. Mia Nixon's murder was just one name on what might be a very long list. And somewhere out there, the person who wanted her dead is watching all this unfold, probably thinking they got away with it. They're wrong. Mia Nixon was 21 years old when her life was cut short in her own driveway. She was a daughter, a friend, a talented beautician with dreams of opening her own salon. She survived one shooting only to fall victim to another. She fought drug charges while building a legitimate business. She defended herself against rumors that may have been completely false. Her murder reveals the complex and terrifying new reality of violence in the social media age, where online drama can be weaponized by people who have nothing to do with the original conflict, where professional killers hide behind community chaos, where the most obvious suspect might be completely innocent. Today, Damian McDaniel sits in jail facing charges in connection with up to 18 murders across Birmingham. But the person who allegedly paid him to kill Mia is still free. The man who argued with her on Facebook Live, the person everyone assumed was the killer, had nothing to do with her death.
This case should change how we think about online safety. It's not just about avoiding conflicts or being careful what we post. It's about understanding that predators are watching, waiting, looking for opportunities to use our own drama against us. Mia's story is still being written. Her alleged killer is in custody, but justice isn't complete until we know who wanted her dead and why. If you found this deep dive into Mia's case valuable, please subscribe and hit that notification bell. Your support allows us to continue investigating cases like this, seeking truth beyond the headlines. Share this video to keep Mia's story alive. Comment with your thoughts, but please be respectful. Her family is still grieving, still seeking answers. And remember, in the age of social media, the dangers aren't always coming from where you expect them. Stay safe, stay aware, and never forget that behind every true crime story is a real person whose life mattered. Rest in peace, Mia Nixon. Your story will not be forgotten.
Adam 10, I got the post on the north side of the building, just off of East Shore.
All right, just walk back up that way. Get out of line of sight of the building.
I got everybody out. Right here. Someone set up a rally point for all the
Get that way. Go that way.
victims or witnesses or employees south of this location.
Get out of line of sight of the building.
South on
Stay on this side. Come on this side.
This is an open door. Copy. But suspects out. Give me some applause.
Hey, John, I'm posting. Post? I'm posting. Go. Say it. 10-9. 10-9. Hey, hold this. Yep. Hey, push up, push up. Push, push.
Hands up. Hands up. Hands up. Shots fired. Hey. Shots fired. Shots fired. Suspect down. Get a roll call.
Possible DOA.
Keep eyes on. Do the rest. I got along with the right.
Hey, catch up. Give me his hand. Big office on. Hey!
Hands up. Hands up. Hands up. Hands up.
It was a quiet morning at the Toyota of Berkeley Service Center on September 21, 2023. Employees were going about their day, customers were waiting for their cars, and 24-year-old Ilana Gallen was at her desk, focused on her work. She was a dedicated mother, a loving daughter, and a woman with dreams of building a better future for her 7-year-old son, King. But in a matter of seconds, everything changed. A man walked in, calm, and carrying a coffee. He approached Ilana, exchanged a few words, and then, without warning, pulled out a gun and shot her at point-blank range. The sound of gunfire echoed through the building, shattering the peace of an ordinary day. Witnesses froze in terror as the man, later identified as Lamar Walker, Ilana's ex-partner and the father of her child. He then turned the gun on himself in a desperate attempt to end his own life. But this was only the beginning of the horror. This story is more than just a tragic event. It's a stark reminder of the devastating impact of domestic violence. Ilana Gallen's life was cut short, leaving her young son, King, to grow up without his mother. But her story doesn't have to end here. By sharing this video, we can raise awareness about the warning signs of domestic violence and the importance of seeking help before it's too late. If you or someone you know has experienced domestic violence, we encourage you to share your story in the comments below. Your voice could help someone else feel less alone and inspire them to take action. Together, we can break the cycle of silence and create a safer future for everyone. If this story moved you, please take a moment to like, comment, and share this video. Your engagement helps us reach a larger audience and spread this critical message. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more in-depth stories that shed light on important issues like this one. Let's honor Ilana's memory by ensuring her story sparks change and saves lives. Thank you for watching, and remember, your voice matters. Ilana Gallen was the kind of person who lit up a room with her presence. At 24 years old, she was a devoted mother, a loving daughter, and a hard-working employee who dreamed of a brighter future for her family. Her life revolved around her 7-year-old son, King, who was her pride and joy. Friends and family often described Ilana as selfless, always putting King's needs above her own. She worked long hours at the Toyota of Berkeley Service Center, not just to pay the bills, but to give her son the opportunities she never had. She wanted the world for him, her mother, Yuvonda, would later say. She wanted him to have everything she couldn't. Alona's social media was a testament to her love for King. Her posts were filled with photos of him, playing football, smiling at the camera, or simply spending time with her. "My everything," she captioned one picture, "my reason for pushing forward." She often spoke about her dreams for his future, how she wanted to see him graduate from college, how she imagined herself cheering him on from the sidelines of his games, and how she hoped to one day send him off into the world as a confident, capable young man. For Alana, every sacrifice was worth it if it meant giving King a better life. But being a young mother wasn't easy. Alana juggled the demands of work, parenting, and her own personal growth. She was determined to break the cycle of hardship and create a stable, loving environment for her son. Her co-workers at the Toyota dealership admired her work ethic and her positive attitude. She was always smiling, one colleague recalled. Even on the toughest days, she found a way to keep going. At home, Alana was the glue that held her family together. She was close to her mother, Yuvanda, and her siblings, who often leaned on her for support. Her brother Lanti described her as the rock of the family, someone who always knew how to make others feel loved and valued. She had this way of making you feel like everything was going to be okay, he said. Even when things were hard, she never let it show. But behind her strength was a story of struggle. Alana had recently made the difficult decision to distance herself from Lamar Walker, King's father, after what she described as his reckless behaviors. She was determined to create a healthy co-parenting relationship for the sake of their son, but the tension between them was undeniable. Friends say Alana tried to keep things civil, but Lamar's actions made it increasingly difficult. She just wanted peace, her mother said. She wanted to focus on raising King and building a better life for them both. On the morning of September 21, 2023, Alana arrived at work as she always did, ready to tackle the day. She had no way of knowing that this would be the last time she would hug her son, the last time she would dream of his future. Because in just a few hours, her life would be tragically cut short, leaving King to face the world without the mother who loved him more than anything. But what led to this unthinkable act of violence? To understand that, we must first look at the man who pulled the trigger, Lamar Walker. Who was he, and what drove him to commit such a horrific crime? The answers lie in the complexities of their relationship, a story of love, conflict, and ultimately, tragedy. While Alana was building a future for herself and King, Lamar Walker's life was on a very different trajectory. At 24 years old, Lamar had already faced a series of personal and legal challenges that hinted at a troubled past. Born and raised in Vacaville, California, Lamar had dreams of his own, but his path was marred by instability and poor decisions. Friends and family described him as someone who struggled to find his place in the world, often grappling with unresolved anger and emotional turmoil. Lamar's relationship with Alana was once filled with promise. They had been together for years and shared a son, King, who meant everything to both of them. But as time went on, their relationship became strained. Alana often spoke of Lamar's reckless behaviors, though she rarely elaborated. Those close to her say she tried to maintain a healthy co-parenting relationship for the sake of their son, but Lamar's actions made it increasingly difficult. She wanted peace, her mother Yuvanda recalled, but Lamar couldn't let go of the past. According to sources, Lamar had a history of run-ins with the law, though the details remain unclear. Some say he struggled with substance abuse, while others point to unresolved mental health issues. What is clear is that Lamar was a man battling his own demons. Demons that would ultimately lead to tragedy. On the morning of September 21, Lamar arrived at the Toyota dealership where Alana worked. Witnesses say he seemed calm, even bringing her a coffee as if nothing was wrong. But behind that calm exterior, something was simmering, a darkness that would soon explode in violence. What happened in those final moments between Lamar and Alana? What pushed him to pull the trigger, ending her life and shattering their son's future? As investigators pieced together the events of that day, they uncovered troubling details about Lamar's past, details that hinted at a deeper, more troubling story. But to truly understand what drove Lamar to commit such a heinous act, we must look beyond the surface and into the heart of their turbulent relationship. What secrets were hiding in the shadows? And could this tragedy have been prevented? The answers lie in the moments leading up to that fateful day. Moments that would change the lives of everyone involved forever. The morning of September 21, 2023 began like any other at the Toyota of Berkeley Service Center in Albany, California. Employees arrived for their shifts, customers dropped off their cars for repairs, and Alana Gallen sat at her desk, focused on her work. She had no reason to suspect that this day would be any different. But just before 11:15 a.m., Lamar Walker walked through the doors. Witnesses say he appeared calm, even carrying a coffee as if he were there for a casual visit. To anyone watching, it seemed like nothing was out of the ordinary. But what happened next would shock everyone. Lamar approached Alana's desk where she was seated, and the two exchanged a few words. Witnesses recall that the conversation seemed normal at first, no raised voices, no visible tension. But then, without warning, Lamar pulled out a gun. In a matter of seconds, he fired multiple shots at Alana at point-blank range. The sound of gunfire echoed through the building, shattering the quiet morning and sending everyone into a panic. Alarmed, Lamar wasn't done yet. In a desperate and chaotic act, he turned the gun on himself, attempting to take his own life. Witnesses say they heard another gunshot followed by an eerie silence. Lamar's attempt, however, was unsuccessful. He was still alive when police arrived on the scene, setting the stage for a confrontation that would escalate the tragedy even further. As the first 911 calls came in, dispatchers relayed the horrifying details: an active shooter at the Toyota dealership, a woman shot, and a man still inside with a gun. Police from Berkeley and Albany responded within minutes, evacuating employees and customers while preparing to confront the shooter. But what they found inside would test even the most seasoned officers. The situation was far from over. As police entered the building, they had no idea what they were walking into. What would they find on the second floor? And how would this tragic day unfold in its final, devastating moments? The answers lie in the chilling footage and the heartbreaking aftermath of a day that changed everything. As the first 911 calls came in, chaos erupted at the Toyota of Berkeley Service Center. Dispatchers relayed the horrifying details: an active shooter, a woman shot, and a man still inside with a gun. Police from Berkeley and Albany responded within minutes, their sirens piercing the quiet morning air. The scene outside the dealership was one of panic and confusion. Employees and customers fled in every direction, some screaming, others frozen in shock. Officers quickly established a perimeter, evacuating everyone they could while preparing to confront the shooter inside. Body camera footage released by the Berkeley Police Department shows the tense moments as officers entered the building. Armed with rifles and tactical gear, they moved cautiously through the first floor, clearing each room as they went. The sound of their footsteps echoed in the empty halls, the only noise breaking the eerie silence. Every corner, every doorway held the potential for danger. "We didn't know what we were walking into," one officer later recalled. "We just knew we had to stop him." As they made their way to the second floor, the tension grew thicker. Officers could hear faint sounds, a voice perhaps, or movement. They knew they were close. With weapons drawn, they approached the room where Lamar was hiding, their training kicking in as they prepared for the worst. "We had to be ready for anything," another officer said. But nothing could have prepared us for what we saw. When they entered the room, they found Lamar crouched behind a desk, a silver revolver clutched in his hand. Alona's body lay on the floor nearby, a grim reminder of the violence that had already taken place. The officers immediately commanded Lamar to drop his weapon and put his hands up. "Put the gun down! Hands up!" they shouted, their voices firm but urgent. But Lamar didn't comply. Instead, he raised the revolver and pointed it directly at the officers. In that split second, the officers had no choice. 5 of them opened fire, their shots ringing out in rapid succession. Lamar was struck multiple times and collapsed to the ground. The room fell silent, the only sound the heavy breathing of the officers as they processed what had just happened. Lamar was pronounced dead at the scene, bringing an end to the violent confrontation. But for Alana, it was already too late. She had been killed instantly by the gunshot wounds to her head, leaving her young son, King, to grow up without his mother. As the officers secured the scene, they began to piece together what had happened. Lamar's revolver lay on the ground near his body, a chilling reminder of the violence he had unleashed. Nearby, Alana's lifeless body served as a heartbreaking testament to the cost of that violence. First responders attempted to render aid, but it was clear that nothing could be done. Both Lamar and Alana were pronounced dead at the scene, but even as the immediate danger passed, questions lingered. What had driven Lamar to commit such a heinous act? Why had he chosen that day, that moment, to end Alana's life and his own? And what could have been done to prevent this tragedy? As investigators began their work, they uncovered troubling details about Lamar's past, details that hinted at a deeper, more complex story. But to truly understand what happened that day, they would need to look beyond the surface and into the heart of Lamar and Alana's relationship. What secrets were hiding in the shadows, and could this tragedy have been prevented? The answers lie in the moments leading up to that fateful day, moments that would change the lives of everyone involved forever. In the wake of the shooting, the most heartbreaking casualty was not just the loss of 2 lives, but the future of a 7-year-old boy named King. In a single, senseless act of violence, King was left without both of his parents. Alana Gallen, his devoted mother, had been his world, his protector, his cheerleader, and his guiding light. Lamar Walker, his father, was now gone too, leaving King to navigate a world that had suddenly become much darker and more uncertain. For King, the loss was unimaginable. At just 7 years old, he was forced to grapple with a reality that no child should ever face. Family members describe him as a bright, energetic boy who adored his mother and looked up to her in every way. They were the best of friends, Alana's mother Yvonne said. She was his everything and he was hers. Now, King would have to grow up without the woman who had dedicated her life to giving him a better future. The emotional toll on King's family was immense. Alana's parents, siblings, and extended family were left to pick up the pieces of a shattered life. "My heart is hurting," Alana's father Alonzo wrote on Facebook in the days following the shooting. Her brother Lonte shared a series of heartfelt posts, one of which read, "It's safe to say I will never be the same again." The family struggled to come to terms with the senselessness of the tragedy, their grief compounded by the knowledge that King would now have to face the world without his mother. But amidst the pain, the community rallied around King. A GoFundMe campaign organized by Alana's mother, Yvonne, quickly gained traction. The goal was to raise $50,000 to support King's future, funds that would go toward therapy, education, and enrichment programs for his favorite sports, football and baseball. The response was overwhelming. Donations poured in from friends, strangers, and even local organizations, surpassing the initial goal and raising over $54,000. "We are so grateful for the outpouring of love and support," Yvonne wrote on the GoFundMe page. "King will need all the help he can get to heal from this tragedy." The campaign was more than just a financial lifeline. It was a testament to the impact Alana had on those around her. Friends and family shared stories of her kindness, her dedication, and her unwavering love for her son. Alana was the kind of mother who always put King's needs before her own, Yvonne wrote. She dreamed of a life where she'd send her son off to college and support him through every stage of life. This tragedy leaves behind a child who will need not only the support of his close family, but of the community around him. As King's family began the long process of healing, they were determined to honor Alana's memory by giving him the life she had always dreamed of. But the road ahead would not be easy. The emotional scars of losing both parents in such a violent and public manner would take years to heal. For now, King was surrounded by love and support, but the weight of his loss would linger for a lifetime. As the community mourned, investigators began the painstaking work of piecing together what had happened on that tragic day. The Albany Police Department took the lead in investigating Alana's homicide, while the Alameda County Sheriff's Office and District Attorney's Office reviewed the officer-involved shooting that claimed Lamar's life. The Berkeley Police Department also launched an internal review to assess whether policies and procedures had been followed. Early findings suggested that the shooting was an act of domestic violence. Witnesses and family members confirmed that Lamar and Alana had a strained relationship, with Alana recently distancing herself from Lamar due to his reckless behaviors. But as investigators dug deeper, they uncovered shocking details about Lamar's past that shed new light on the tragedy. Sources revealed that Lamar had a history of run-ins with the law, though the specifics remained unclear. Some suggested he had struggled with substance abuse, while others pointed to unresolved mental health issues. Friends described him as a man who often bottled up his emotions until they erupted in unpredictable ways. He wasn't a bad person, one friend said, but he had demons he couldn't control. Investigators also looked into the events leading up to the shooting. Witnesses recalled that Lamar had visited the dealership earlier that morning, bringing Alona a coffee as if nothing was wrong. But behind that calm exterior, something was simmering, a darkness that would soon explode in violence. What had pushed Lamar to commit such a heinous act? Was it a moment of rage, or was there something deeper, more calculated behind his actions? As the investigations continued, questions remained unanswered. Could this tragedy have been prevented? Were there warning signs that were missed? And what could be done to ensure that no other family would have to endure such a loss? The answers lie in the moments leading up to that fateful day. Moments that would change the lives of everyone involved forever. But one thing was clear. Alana Gallen's death was a senseless act of violence that left a young boy without his mother, a child she was co-parenting with the man who took her life. Her story serves as a stark reminder of the devastating consequences of domestic violence and the importance of seeking help before it's too late. As the investigations unfold, one question lingers. Could this tragedy have been prevented? The answer might surprise you. Alana Gallen's life was cut short by a man she once loved, leaving a young boy to grow up without his mother. This tragic story serves as a stark reminder of the devastating consequences of domestic violence. Alana was more than a victim. She was a devoted mother, a loving daughter, and a woman with dreams of a brighter future for her son, King. Her death is a heartbreaking loss, not just for her family, but for everyone who knew her, and for the community that rallied around her in the wake of this tragedy. But Alana's story doesn't have to end here. By sharing her story, we can raise awareness about the warning signs of domestic violence and the importance of seeking help before it's too late. If this story moved you, please like, comment, and share this video. Your engagement helps us reach a larger audience and spread this critical message. Together, we can honor Alana's memory by ensuring her story sparks change and saves lives. We also encourage you to support King's future by contributing to the GoFundMe campaign organized by Alana's mother, Yuvonda. The funds will go toward King's therapy, education, and enrichment programs, giving him the resources he needs to heal and thrive. Let's come together as a community to ensure that King's future is filled with love, opportunity, and the support he deserves. Thank you for watching and for being a part of this important conversation. Stay tuned for our next video, where we delve into another shocking case that left a community in mourning. Until then, take care of yourselves and each other, and remember, your voice matters.
Tonight, the Jackson Police Department has arrested and charged a man with murder. According to JPD, 24-year-old Perez Porter was arrested right around 7 o'clock this evening and charged with the murder of Precious Wilson.
Jackson Police Department was called to the 5000 block of I-55 North, the Studio 6 Hotel, where a young female was discovered inside of her hotel room. She had suffered gunshot wounds to her body. She succumbed to her injuries. She was a 22-year-old female by the name of Precious Wilson. She was not from Jackson. She was from Memphis, Tennessee. Apparently there was no forced entry into that hotel room, and she had some type of interaction, some type of transaction, or some type of encounter with someone, and they took her life.
304 ready to foxy face some food. A bold declaration that perfectly encapsulated the unapologetic spirit of 22-year-old Precious Wilson. She was a vibrant force of nature, living life on her own terms with a personality that radiated confidence. Embracing her identity as a 304, a term she wore like a badge of honor, Precious was unfiltered, boldly declaring her lifestyle to the world and ensuring that everyone knew exactly who she was and what she stood for. In a culture that often celebrates provocative behavior, she thrived, drawing attention and engagement from her followers. Some admired her for her authenticity, while others were quick to judge, expressing disdain or discomfort at her choices.
Yet, no matter the public perception, whether it was love, hate, or indifference, Precious remained unfazed. She was determined to live life on her own terms, fully aware of the reactions she provoked. In her eyes, it didn't matter if people cringed or cheered. What mattered was that she was unapologetically herself, embracing every facet of her identity with pride. Welcome to True Crime Tales HQ. Before we dive deeper into Precious Wilson's story, I want to emphasize why this narrative is so important. This isn't just about one tragic incident. It's a reflection of broader societal issues surrounding femicide, promiscuity, and the dangers of transactional relationships that affect many lives. We want to hear from you. What are your thoughts on this case? Have you or someone you know faced similar challenges? Your experiences matter, and sharing them can help foster understanding and awareness. Engaging in this conversation is crucial, so please drop your opinions in the comments below. Let's create a dialogue that can lead to meaningful change. If you find this story impactful, don't forget to like and share this video. Your support helps us reach a larger audience, spreading awareness about the realities of gun violence, sexual safety, and the risks of casual encounters. And if you haven't already, subscribe to our channel for more discussions that matter. Together, we can shine a light on these important issues and advocate for a safer, more informed community. Precious Wilson's social media presence was nothing short of a vibrant spectacle, a digital stage where she showcased her unapologetic lifestyle. Imagine scrolling through your feed and encountering a post that boldly declares, 304 ready to fuck for some food. It's the kind of statement that makes you pause, isn't it? You might chuckle, roll your eyes, or even feel a twinge of discomfort. But that was precisely the point for Precious. She thrived on evoking reactions, whether they were laughter, shock, or outright disdain. Her posts were a blend of humor and raw honesty, reflecting a young woman who refused to be boxed in by societal expectations. Each update was a glimpse into her world, where she embraced her identity with fierce pride. But have you ever wondered what it feels like to live so openly, to share every facet of your life with the world? For Precious, social media was more than just a platform. It was a canvas where she painted her reality, one bold stroke at a time. In a culture that increasingly glorifies sex work and provocative behavior, Precious became part of a movement that celebrated such lifestyles. Think about it. How often do we see influencers and celebrities flaunting their sexuality, turning it into a brand? It's a double-edged sword, isn't it? On one hand, there's empowerment in owning your narrative. On the other, there's a risk of losing sight of the dangers that lurk beneath the surface. Precious was acutely aware of this dynamic, yet she leaned into it, crafting a persona that was both captivating and controversial. Her timeline was a shrine to sex talk, risque jokes, and candid oversharing, inviting her followers into a world that many only dared to glimpse. But as you read her posts, did you ever stop to think about the woman behind the screen? What drove her to share such intimate details? Was it a quest for validation, a desire to connect, or simply a reflection of her reality? In a society where likes and shares can feel like currency, Precious navigated the fine line between humor and seriousness. She was part of a generation that often seeks affirmation through social media, where every post is a chance to be seen and heard. But at what cost? As you scroll through your own feeds, do you ever find yourself questioning the narratives being presented? Are we celebrating authenticity, or are we inadvertently glamorizing a lifestyle that can be perilous? Precious's story is a reminder of the complexities of modern life, where the digital world can amplify both joy and danger. Her vibrant posts may have drawn in followers, but they also served as a stark reflection of a culture that often romanticizes risky behavior. As we engage with her narrative, let's consider, how do we balance self-expression with the realities of our choices? What does it mean to live authentically in a world that constantly judges? Precious Wilson's journey invites us to reflect on these questions, challenging us to think deeply about the lives we portray online and the stories we choose to share. On February 26, 2025, the vibrant life of Precious Wilson took a dark turn that would forever alter the course of her story. That evening, she made a decision that many might find familiar in today's world, a choice to meet a man at a Motel 6. It's a scenario that plays out in countless lives, often romanticized in movies and social media. But for Precious, it would lead to a tragic and untimely end. Picture this, a young woman, full of life and ambition, driving over an hour to meet someone she barely knew.
What thoughts raced through her mind as she approached that motel? Was she excited, nervous, or perhaps even a little apprehensive? In a culture that often glamorizes casual encounters, it's easy to overlook the potential dangers lurking behind seemingly innocent decisions. But for Precious, this meeting would prove fatal. As she arrived at the Motel 6, did she feel a sense of empowerment? Or was there a nagging voice in the back of her mind warning her of the risks? The allure of living life boldly can sometimes overshadow the reality of high-risk situations. In her pursuit of authenticity and connection, Precious found herself in a precarious position, one that many young women face today. The consequences of her lifestyle were about to unfold in the most tragic way. In a moment that would change everything, Precious was shot multiple times, her life extinguished in a place that should have been safe. It's a chilling reminder of how quickly things can spiral out of control. How often do we hear stories like this, where a seemingly ordinary decision leads to unimaginable consequences? As news of her death spread, it became clear that this was not just another case of gun violence, it was a preventable tragedy rooted in the complexities of her lifestyle. The very choices that defined her, her boldness, her willingness to embrace her identity ultimately led her to a situation that would cost her everything. In reflecting on Precious's story, we must ask ourselves, what lessons can we learn from her tragic end? How do we navigate the fine line between living authentically and recognizing the potential dangers that come with it? Precious Wilson's life and death serve as a poignant reminder of the risks associated with a lifestyle that is often celebrated but rarely scrutinized. As we honor her memory, let's engage in a deeper conversation about the choices we make and the realities they can bring. On that fateful night of February 26, 2025, Precious Wilson made the decision to meet 24-year-old Perez Porter at the Motel 6 in Memphis, a choice that would lead to her tragic demise. The circumstances surrounding their meeting remain shrouded in uncertainty, but what is clear is that this encounter was not just a casual rendezvous. It was a pivotal moment that would change everything. Precious drove over an hour to the motel, a location that, on the surface, seemed like a typical spot for a discreet meeting. But as she arrived, the reality of the situation began to unfold. The details of their interaction are still unclear, but police later confirmed that a transaction was involved. Was it a simple exchange, or did it escalate into something more dangerous? The ambiguity surrounding their meeting raises unsettling questions about the nature of their encounter and the intentions of both parties. As the night progressed, the situation took a horrific turn. Precious was shot multiple times, her life extinguished in a place that should have been safe. The chaos of that moment is unimaginable. What went through her mind as she faced the threat? Did she realize the gravity of her situation? The police investigation revealed that there were no signs of forced entry into the motel room, suggesting that Precious had willingly engaged with her assailant. This detail underscores the tragic reality of her lifestyle choices, highlighting the risks associated with meeting strangers in such vulnerable circumstances. In the aftermath of the shooting, the Jackson Police Department launched a thorough investigation. Officers responded to the scene after receiving reports of gunfire, only to discover Precious's lifeless body inside the hotel room. Chief Joseph Wade stated that surveillance footage captured a man with dreadlocks, but it remained unclear whether he was entering or leaving the room at the time of the incident. This ambiguity added another layer of complexity to the investigation, as detectives worked to piece together the events leading up to the shooting. Within 48 hours, the police tracked down Perez Porter, arresting him and charging him with murder. The swift action taken by law enforcement provided a sense of urgency to the case, but it also raised further questions about the circumstances surrounding Precious's death. What had transpired in those final moments? Was there a confrontation, or did things spiral out of control unexpectedly? As the investigation continues, the community grapples with the implications of this tragedy. Precious Wilson's story serves as a chilling reminder of the dangers that can arise from a lifestyle that is often romanticized. It compels us to reflect on the choices we make and the potential consequences that can follow. In the end, the details of this incident are not just about a young woman's life lost. They are a call to examine the broader cultural narratives that shape our understanding of safety, relationships, and the risks we take in pursuit of connection. The tragic death of Precious Wilson reverberates far beyond the circumstances of that fateful night. It leaves a profound impact on those who knew her, and most heartbreakingly, on her young son. At just 3 years old, her son now faces a future forever altered by the loss of his mother. He will grow up without the warmth of her presence, the guidance of her love,
and the laughter that once filled their home. How does a child comprehend the absence of a mother who was not only a parent, but also a vibrant personality full of life and dreams? Precious became a mother in 2020, a role that brought her immense joy and purpose. Yet, as she navigated her identity as a 304, the complexities of her lifestyle often overshadowed her responsibilities. It's a poignant reminder of the duality many face. How can one embrace their individuality while also fulfilling the role of a nurturing parent? As we reflect on Precious's life, we must consider the choices she made and how they intertwined with her identity as a mother. Did she ever envision the potential consequences of her lifestyle on her son's future? The reality is that her choices, while empowering in some respects, also carried significant risks. Precious's vibrant social media presence painted a picture of confidence and freedom, but it also masked the dangers that came with her lifestyle. In the end, it wasn't just her life that was lost. It was the future she could have shared with her son. He will grow up with questions about who his mother was, why she made certain choices, and how her life ended so abruptly. As we reflect on Precious's life and choices, we are compelled to confront the broader implications of her story. It serves as a stark reminder of the fragility of life and the importance of making informed decisions. While she lived boldly and authentically, her tragic end underscores the need for awareness and caution in a world that often glamorizes risky behavior. In honoring Precious's memory, we must also advocate for a culture that values life and safety. Her story is not just a cautionary tale. It is a call to action for all of us to engage in meaningful conversations about the choices we make and the impact they have on those we love. As her son grows, may he carry forward the lessons learned from his mother's life, a life that, while vibrant and unapologetic, ultimately serves as a reminder of the importance of balance, responsibility, and the enduring power of love. The tragic end of Precious Wilson stands as a stark cautionary tale, a preventable tragedy that resonates deeply in today's society. Her story is not just about a young woman who lost her life. It's a powerful reminder of the inherent dangers that accompany a lifestyle often glamorized in popular culture. As we reflect on her choices, we must confront the uncomfortable truths about transactional sex and the risks that come with it. In a world where casual encounters are frequently romanticized, it's easy to overlook the potential consequences. Precious's decision to meet a stranger for sex at a motel may have seemed like a harmless choice, a part of her bold identity. But the reality is that such encounters can be fraught with danger. How many of us have heard stories of similar situations that ended in heartbreak or tragedy? It's a sobering thought, isn't it? The allure of living freely can sometimes blind us to the risks that lurk in the shadows. As we navigate this narrative, we find ourselves grappling with dual perspectives: the mourning of a life cut short, and the cautionary view that urges us to reconsider our choices. On one hand, there is a profound sense of loss for Precious, a young mother, a vibrant personality, and a woman who dared to live authentically. Her death leaves behind unanswered questions and a grieving family, particularly her young son, who now faces a future without his mother. How do we reconcile the joy she brought to her followers with the tragedy of her untimely death? On the other hand, Precious's story serves as a critical warning. It compels us to examine the culture that often glorifies risky behavior without acknowledging the potential fallout. Are we, as a society, doing enough to educate young people about the dangers of transactional relationships? Are we encouraging open conversations about consent, safety, and the realities of such encounters? As we reflect on Precious's life, we must ask ourselves, how can we honor her memory while also advocating for awareness and change? Her story is a call to action, urging us to engage in discussions about the implications of a lifestyle that is often celebrated but can lead to devastating consequences. In the end, Precious Wilson's life and death remind us that while we may celebrate authenticity and boldness, we must also recognize the importance of safety and awareness. Let her story be a catalyst for change, prompting us to reflect on our choices and the narratives we perpetuate. As we mourn her loss, let's also commit to fostering a culture that values life, safety, and informed decision-making. As we reflect on the life and tragic death of Precious Wilson, let us keep her family in our thoughts and prayers. They are left to navigate a world forever changed by her absence, particularly her young son, who will grow up without the love and guidance of his mother. This tragedy is not just a personal loss. It is a wake-up call for society to engage in deeper conversations about the choices we make and the narratives we perpetuate. In the end, we must prioritize the value of life over the fleeting allure of internet fame.
The likes and shares that may seem so important can never replace the irreplaceable our loved ones. As we honor Precious's memory, let us commit to fostering a culture that values safety, awareness, and genuine connection. If you found this discussion meaningful, please take a moment to like, share, and subscribe to this channel. Your support helps us raise awareness and engage in important conversations about the realities we face today. May Precious Wilson rest in peace, her story serving as a lasting reminder of the importance of living authentically while recognizing the potential consequences of our choices. Let her legacy inspire us to advocate for a world where every life is cherished and every choice is made with care.